I'm making a video with my phone, so if this is hard to see, I do apologize, but I kind of did it on the fly with this Joby grippable stand. I started off with the standard Boy and Bates hook. I like the Boy hooks because they have a head like this. It's nice and pointed. It goes in to the stitches really easy. These hooks in particular are very smooth, and so they glide in and out of the yarn really easy. Another choice is, that's the Clover Amour. Put it right here. Another choice is this hook. This is the Tulip. This is the Atimo. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but I just got my first one. I just got this one because I wanted a 4.5, and I wanted to try to use something that was similar to the Clover, but not necessarily identical. And I gotta tell you, this is okay, but this one has a more pronounced dip here. So if you're used to pressing with your thumb in this manner, and you need that, that's comforting. That would be very comforting, I would think, for someone that relied on having that indentation right here. I don't. I prefer to roll, which I will demonstrate shortly. This is the Addy Swing. I got 2 of these. I also got this in a 4.5 because I wanted to try it. And again, same deal. Nice pointed head. Also, if you look closely, you'll notice that this portion is deep enough that it will hook your yarn, but not so pronounced that it's hard to do a nice flick and release. Because when you come back through, you want to be able to turn your hook and have the yarn release and not hold on. And you'll notice that with some wooden hooks, if these edges around here, these corners, like the corners of a mouth, if they're sharp and the hook is flat from this side to this side, and here this portion is flat where my fingernail is sitting, then it's hard for the yarn to glide smoothly. As an example, let me get my bamboo hook. I'll show you this bamboo hook that I have. See how that's fairly flat? And also notice the sharpness here, because this is cut flat. I mean, I'm going straight in with my fingernail, and it's going, there's no go up and down because there's no roundness in here. It's straight across. So that's the difference. That's something to pay attention to. Find out what you like and what you're used to, because there really isn't a bad hook unless it's rough. That would be bad. But there really isn't a bad hook. There's just what you prefer and what you don't prefer. I've adapted my grips. I've changed them and varied them to the hook, whichever one felt the most comfortable. And then as I've gone along, especially with Sophie's Universe, because of the sheer amount of work I've been doing and the repetitive stitching on the single crochets and the row after row of doubles, I had gotten used to one particular kind or another. This was the first ergonomic hook that I ever got. This is a Furls Candy Shop. If for those of you that don't know, Furls does the heirloom wood and they do the Candy Shop. And they're shaped identically. They've got a pattern that they use. I'm sure it's set on a lathe where they can spin these and make these. This is molded, and then they say they use auto grade paint. So it is slick. It's like a finely waxed automobile. I mean, it feels fantastic. And it just glides in and out. Now, finishes can have some effect. There's almost like a squeakiness to it in here. As I move it, that's what's stopping it. My fingers are grabbing on it. Believe it or not, I just rub the tip of my nose, and then I'll rub it around on the hook. And the more you use them, the smoother they get. Okay? Be careful about dirt from your hands, but natural oils are not going to harm anything, especially if you're dealing with natural fibers. Remember, sheep, lanolin, wool, you get the idea. So, I mean, for those of you that might think it's a little odd, I don't know if any of you have ever owned an opal. My birthstone is the opal. They'll tell you to moisturize this stone with oils from your face, like from the tip of your nose, because it keeps the stone from getting dry and brittle and potentially cracking. I found a great wood crafter in Texas. His name is Brian Nelson, and he sells his hooks from Nelson Wood on Etsy, all one word, Nelson Wood. And this one is ebony. The harder the wood, the hardness of the wood, the harder the wood, the smaller the pores, the smoother the grain, if there's any grain visible at all. And that makes a nice smooth hook. But hard woods also can tend to be brittle. So if you pull really, really hard on a very fine shaft, this is a 4.5 as well. If you pull really hard on a wooden hook, you can break them. I've heard stories of them breaking. It's doubtful, but there's always a first time. I know people have, I've seen someone that broke this off and then said, well, they're just going to glue that back on. I don't think Addie would be averse to replacing a hook because honestly, this is a little bit of money for a hook. Now these, see how I cradle it in my hand this way? So you can grip like this. If you're a pencil grip, this would probably be a little bit better for you, I would think. I don't hold with a pencil, but I would think it would be better. Because look, let me get my hand away from the camera a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. If the back part of it curves over your hand this way, and then you're this way, but if you'll notice, you're moving your hand, it's going like this. And that's fine if that works for you, but I use a lot less motion in my hand if I'm doing this. I just roll the hook, and I'm not holding on to it too hard when I do. But again, it depends upon the type of stitch. When I get into certain stitches that I'm comfortable with, that don't take a lot of, intense focus. But with Sophie's Universe, again, I'm having to search for places in the yarn, and I'll tend to take the hook and guide it into certain stitches this way. And I'll guide it in, rather than just constantly not even moving my finger. So I'll guide it. So this is considered a knife hold from what I understand, but most of the time I just tend to do like this. I've never crocheted with my hook over here. As far as how I hold the yarn, which was the original question, was, the aches and pains with yarn tension. This is a 5, and this is what I've been working on with Sophie's Universe, and all I did was work up some double crochets and play around. So let me get this away from the camera a little bit so it's easy to be seen and put up these hooks. And I'll show you what I do with my yarn. It's automatic for me to do this now. When I go in, I come in with my finger and I just wrap. And then I go over, under, over. And it comes over the top of my index finger. And I grip with thumb and third finger. I grip like this. And the yarn stays up here. This works for me. Some people have it all the way back here and they're able to do this. Some people will go under that one, over the middle one, and they're gripping this way, and it's just pulling out of the center part of their hand. So they would grip this way and it's pulling out of the center. But I would not be able to do this. I mean, I can understand how that would hurt, that would ache, because it's fairly unnatural to keep the fingers of your hand close together like this. You're using muscles in your fingers that just, your hand naturally wants to separate and spread because you're made to grip things this way. You get more leverage that way. So I would recommend trying to find a way to, I initially started this way, and some people only need to do over that finger and like that. That's enough tension for them. But I didn't feel like I had enough control. This extra wrap is common with extra wrapping around something increases tension. And that's something that rock climbers will do. So you could try once, twice, and then I weave around and I'm ready to go. And so when I'm crocheting, I use a yarn pet and I just flick my hand. I'm crocheting like this, and I flick my hand this way, and it just spools yarn right off of that yarn pet with a flick of my wrist. And I get enough tension, and the yarn glides over my hand. So I'm never really having to be too concerned with not having enough. If there's a problem with my tension coming off the ball, coming off the skein, then that's a problem with the skein and how it's feeding. It's not anything to do with my hand usually. And I just go along like this. And I'm going to go ahead and crochet a little bit here. Hopefully it'll represent on this iPhone, but I'm not sure because I'm going to focus on my work. I'll have to recheck it in a second. But let me pull up some yarn. I put it on the floor next to me so it wouldn't get in the way. This is some longer scrap yarn that I had that I used to, I was using for gauge and to check stitches and stuff. So let's do some double crochets. And this works for me. I mean, I keep my yarn away from this part of my hand normally so it doesn't get snagged up. But here we go. Normally my hands are closer to my body, so my elbows are at the reading position. Right now I'm leaning forward onto a table, which is a little awkward for me, but I didn't know where else to put the phone. I had to set it on a solid surface, so I put it on my laptop table. But I just come in this way. And let me show you with the camera more into this hand here than my left hand, my right hand. So I'm going in and I'm holding this way, and I'm hardly press. I don't have to press. If I'm doing a triple or a double triple, then I can hold it with my finger. And that's another great thing about the clover hooks, by the way. When you don't have to worry about the stitches going all the way down here and moving around. I used to hate that when I was starting. It was really annoying. This, you just wrap and you go in and yank. And that's it. And not even yank. And I can adjust my tension with my left hand, how much I'm pulling. And I just get into a rhythm after a while. And I don't even, my index finger stays free. I only use it to touch the yarn when I'm guiding the hook this way. Maybe. Sometimes I don't even do that. If I'm doing back loop only, like on a hat, I did that, and I just went along like this. I didn't even touch it. And I'm not gripping hard at all. I am not gripping this hook for nothing. See, I'll miss. And it's far enough away from my face, but this way, I'm just wrap. And rather than using the hook at the beginning, I'm making my left hand do the wrap work. I know that some people will move the hook, and everybody does this differently. I've watched so many videos, and you have to find what works for you, but in my opinion, the most important thing is consistency. So you're going to come across, and I'm moving this finger the way some of the large ball winders, the yarn winders, where they have the arm does the work instead of the spool. So I'm wrapping around my hook this way. And with this yarn especially, this is Plymouth Galway worsted. You can really tell when your tension goes up because the yarn thins out almost immediately. If I maintain a little bit of, if I'm a little relaxed, then I'll get about 4.5 per inch, so about 18 stitches per 4 inches. But if I stretch like this, it's easily 20 when it's tight, and I have to be careful. And the pulling here is caused by that double foundation, that double crochet in a foundation. I did the foundation chain. It's got a little bit of stretchiness to it. I don't know if this helps you, but I would do this because when I crochet, this thing is just gliding along. It's like this, see? And it doesn't, I can close my hand if I want to stop it. If it's getting to be where I need to stop, all I have to do is pull a little bit harder here and then clamp all 3 of my fingers together. And that's it. It's not going anywhere. But if I loosen those fingers up, look, and it's taken a little bit of doing. I don't know if you can see this thing stretch. So it's not too tight, it's just enough. And I just worked with a hook long enough where I could get comfortable. And this one, I just roll. This is all I do. I'm rolling with my finger a lot. Sometimes I'll press a little across my 4 fingers this way with my thumb and do the guiding thing, but that's it. Now, as far as a pencil grip, if you want a good laugh, we'll do the pencil grip, because I don't know if I've ever even tried it this way. See, I can't even really catch the yarn. So you've got me there, and you looked very relaxed. And if that works for you, that's great. So the problem then at this point for you is how to hold the yarn. And I'm still holding the yarn the same way. So let me go back to my original grip and get this little, whatever this is, this blooper out over here. And I'm going to move my left hand over where you can see my left hand. And I'm going to get a different hook just for some variety. I'll get this ergonomic hook. Now the Addy didn't really do anything for me, but I think it would be good for a pencil grip like you said. So you can't even really see it, but that's how I hold my yarn. And when I open up my hand, that's how I can get more. If I'm having problems getting it to come off the ball, if it's not gliding enough, I open up my hand and I just pull, and I can pull, and then I come back. And if I need to rewrap, it's just automatic now, just to weave it in and out of my fingers like that. So I don't know if that will help you, but I wish you the best of luck, and I'm going to try to edit this video down and maybe send it to you in sections. But here we go.